I'm Sam Ekstrom. Welcome to the Squad Show. That was frustrating, and the Vikings are in last place.
I'm Luke Braun from Locked On Vikings. Carson Wentz, Gitmo, win.
And I'm Ron Johnson. I guess A.J. Brown didn't need to read books this game.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings, every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
Hey, welcome into the Squad Show on a losing Sunday afternoon. Vikings fall to Philadelphia 28-22 to drop to 3-3. You met Ron Johnson, you met Luke Braun. Luke is off today, and I'm Sam Ekstrom. Scratchy voice, but who cares? We got to talk about a game in which the Minnesota Vikings allowed way too many big plays, and they scratched and they fought. And in some ways, this was a heavyweight fight, but it felt like whenever the Eagles needed it, they had the out card. They had the wild card. They had Jalen Hurts. The Vikings had Carson Wentz. Way too many red zone errors. We'll, of course, dive into that. And Jalen Hurts, man, I mean, just unstoppable. And we'll take stock of where the Vikings stand in the NFC North now at 3-3. We are brought to you today by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Ron Johnson, that was tough. That was tough to watch. It was 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Every single time it seemed like the Vikings had a little bit of momentum. Every time it looked like they were going to close on the Philadelphia Eagles. They couldn't come up with that big stop. They couldn't come up with that big conversion. They trailed the entire game virtually. That was just really difficult to consume.
Yeah, when you look at the plays run, so 49-57, the Vikings had the edge there. You look at time of possession, the Vikings had the edge there. And you hit the nail on the head. It was big plays. Like the Vikings way too many times gave up big plays. And the one that really hurt was the Josh Metellus one-on-one with I think it was A.J. Brown. He had him covered in the first part of the play call. And Dallas Turner just played patty cake for like 5 seconds. If he could have spun, if he could have ripped, if he could have dipped, done something for a secondary move once the bull rush didn't work, he just doesn't have that secondary move. He kind of just gets locked up in the bull rush and assumes like, all right, well, this is just it. And that's going to come with time of him learning that he needs to have a secondary move. It can't just be a bull rush all the time because it's not going to work when you're going against a guy twice your size. And A.J. Brown kind of saw, okay, my quarterback still has time. And then he kind of gave him the like go upfield look. He goes upfield, throws a deep ball touchdown. Josh Metellus is looking around like, hey, I had him covered. What happened? That was one of the daggers. The other one, of course, then is towards the end of the game. Same thing. A.J. Brown down the field. The other one, Devonta Smith running a dig route. Wide open in the middle of the field. It looked like it was Isaiah Rodgers was passing him off because they were in some kind of zone. But for Isaiah Rodgers, why cover grass at that point? Clearly, the quarterback still has the ball. He's still in the pocket. Play's not over. Don't go cover grass. Stay close to Devonta Smith until Harrison Smith or somebody you know can walk down. Maybe they'll cover behind you. But a lot of that was happening, and that was another big play. So it was just big plays. Saquon Barkley, they had him contained for most of the game, so it wasn't like they ran the ball down your throat. Jalen Hurts just beat him with his arm. I think everybody was saying, like, let's make Jalen Hurts beat us. I don't think the Eagles offensive coordinator even really knows what he wants to do half the time, and he figured it out today was just let me throw the ball and hope that no pass rush comes.
Yeah, Hurts knew the assignment, and it wasn't necessarily great schematic work, Luke Braun. It was just Jalen Hurts extending plays, making plays, finding time. The 3rd and 13 late in the game particularly stings. Of course, the big lob down the sideline at the end really, really hurts. A couple big 3rd downs in the game. He finishes 19 of 23, 326, 3 TDs, no picks. That's just efficiency.
A perfect passer rating. 3rd one ever in Eagles history, as the broadcast said right at the end. That you can't call that a good game, which sucks because I thought there were a lot of people on the defense that did have games worth praising, like Jalen Redmond, somebody's bringing up in the chat, had a great day. And I really feel like every individual had at least a defensible day, right? You have a couple of really bad plays for Isaiah Rodgers, probably a day to forget for him, but not one where you're going, oh my God, do we have the right cornerback in, right? Like there's enough leash. Like you can kind of burn the tape on this one and move on with Isaiah Rodgers and, with Metellus losing track of the dig route behind him as he goes and hugs the check down, like that kind of stuff. But everybody had like a defensible day. To me, the indefensible days were on offense with two guys that shouldn't be in. One is Carson Wentz. We got to get him out of here as soon as possible. As soon as you can justify getting J.J. McCarthy out there, you just have to do it. It's over. I'm sick of hearing about the hot hand. I'm sick of hearing about the guy that makes the offense go. No, he doesn't. He makes the offense throw pick sixes and doesn't have any idea what he's doing on third downs. Like, he just can't see. It's horrible.
And the second wheels, is Blake Brandel. It's the wheels, Luke Braun. Clearly, he's got
right. So I'm sick of hearing about it. I get it. He's the backup, and you have to put up with the backup for as long as the starter is injured. But there is no longer, in my mind, any ambiguity about who is who here. And I think if you want to go to bat for this game, good luck, man, because this was awful. I mean, miss after miss, misread after misread. Just this is. I feel like a team where 51 guys played reasonably, at least, and 2 guys held the team hostage, and those 2 guys were Wentz and Blake Brandel.
You're
and
talking.
Blake Brandel shouldn't have been in.
You're talking right now like this was Kirk Cousins week 2 in 2022. It was not that level of bad. 42 pass attempts, 26 of 42, absolutely some missed throws, absolutely inexcusable interceptions.
The offense is so simple too. If you can throw outs to Jordan Addison every play, as soon as you take away the out to Jordan Addison, everything falls apart. I'm talking about this like this was a bad game. It was a damn bad game. It was horrible.
There are levels to these. There are levels to these things. I'm not gonna go to bat hard for him. I also think that we've seen much worse quarterback play around here, and we saw an offense that moved the ball consistently into the red zone.
Praise. I guess I'll give you that. Yes,
Ron, where do you stand?
We did see the Atlanta Kirk Cousins game after Raheem Morris came in. We did have that one.
Yeah, Ron, where do you
I'd say 50% of it is on Carson Wentz, and 50% of it is on some of the playmakers not making plays. Like Justin Jefferson on that fade route in the end zone. If he catches that, different game, ball game. That one he had in his hands, he let it wasn't Reed Blankenship. I think it was Cooper DeJean. Who would ever thought Cooper DeJean would be able to stop Justin Jefferson one-on-one? And the minute he lined up, for those that were sitting next to me in the press box, the media, and Sam, you know this, we're supposed to be a little quiet. We're supposed to be a little bit unbiased. But the minute he ran out there and they did the little motion and he was manned up, I literally kind of yelled, like, you got man coverage. And then everybody kind of looked at me and I'm like, all right, oops, my bad. But and then he throw, because I'm like, oh, you're going to give him man coverage with Justin Jefferson. And I don't know if that was the call, but you saw Carson Wentz look over after the motion and realize, like, oh shoot, I got JJ. Throw the great ball. Justin catches it. Cooper DeJean knocks it out. That changes the scope of the game. 2nd and 1. 3 plays. Put it over there. 3 plays. 2nd and 1. All he had to do was run the ball to get a first down and get 4 more plays. He gets too cute, gets too tricky. So there's a few things that are on Carson Wentz, but there's some things on some play calling. There's some things on the playmakers. But the interception with the linebacker, Blake Brandel just gets absolutely beat like a drum. So I don't even think he felt like he had time to throw the ball. But that wasn't the throw. But the deep ball is 100% on him. That deep ball is 100% on him. There's no reason to heave it up there. And then I think at the end of the game, instead of throwing it out the back of the end zone, I think he takes a sack. So there's some things there where it's like. And Luke and I were talking before the show started, like, yeah, this is your 10th year. You shouldn't be making these mistakes. These are things that you should be able to just accomplish and know with like time. So I can't say it's like blow it up level bad, but it wasn't great either though. But if you change some of those plays up, and the one throws everybody's talking about, like the Jordan Addison, I think he was in the flat, missed him. He missed TJ Hockenson in the flat as well. Like he had 2 of those where it's just like, if you just throw the ball, it's a first down for Jordan Addison. He's walking, who knows? He might even turn the corner and score. But some of those throws are just very troubling of like, why can't you make that throw? I saw J.J. McCarthy walking around on the sideline. He looks fine, but again, it's pain tolerance of play. So clearly when he has to move fast, he doesn't have it yet because there's no reason for him not to be the backup. So the fact that he was walking around fine, but he can't play in the game and can't be the backup, I wonder how much pain is he in?
There's a lot of layers to what is going on with the JJ McCarthy timeline. That's probably a really good topic for tomorrow's show. The chat is mixed. I think the chat probably leans Luke Braun on this, probably about 2/3, and then
Arlington Renegades go. You're done.
People like me who are saying let's have a complex conversation about this. The Pittsburgh game, I'm with you. Pittsburgh game, I would not have needed to see another performance. And I don't think that he was great today either. He was not great. I'm not saying that. Also, Blake Brandel snaps it over his head.
Yep.
Carson Wentz throws a touchdown pass. Blake Brandel commits a holding call. The play calling, like Ron mentioned, by KOC. There's a fingernail, away from a TJ Hawkinson touchdown on that
a
final
horrible
drive.
throw.
Not
wide
open,
open, and he had to lay out. That he missed by 2 yards. So let's not say he could have had a touchdown. That was
there was at least a semblance of movement and rhythm to this offense. That I find myself just wondering, what if the Vikings had just executed on a handful of more plays in the red zone? This is a different game. Now, it's also pointed out in the chat that the early Wentz struggles, putting you behind, throwing a pick six, that matters too. It all matters. It all matters. I feel like a reef on this. I feel like I'm the one going to bat.
I can't believe you're going to bat for Carson Wentz after this game, dude. I'm genuinely astonished that we can watch this and be like, no, it was fine. What are we doing? He missed like half of his throws. All he can throw is outs and flats. This is the simplest offense in the league right now. How many pages of the playbook does KOC have to tear out? And he's still trying to find ways to get something a little bit interesting going on. This was, if you had kind of fallen for it in the end of the Browns game with that interesting little dink and dunk game-winning drive that was so cute. If you had fallen for it, this was that getting exposed as the unsustainable offense that it is. It like statistically moving the ball okay with the simplest concepts that are in everybody's offense, and he still can't find the reads on half of them. This is not an NFL quarterback. This is not an NFL quarterback.
The problem is that we don't know if JJ McCarthy is either. That's the problem. He's got the upside, and that's what we hope.
He's got the upside. I mean, he's not healthy, but if you bench JJ McCarthy for what we're seeing right now, if Kevin O'Connell's like, well, I can only use 3 plays a game over and over again, but at least it's not McCarthy, then you trade him to the Raiders or something, because it's over. If that's what we're doing, if we're choosing this over McCarthy, it is Josh Rosen bad. It has to be. He's never seeing the field again, if that's the case. I'd call it right now. If a healthy JJ McCarthy backs up Carson Wentz after this debacle of a game.
Here's the one thing, too, though. If that throw down the sideline to the right in the first quarter to Jordan Addison, that Jordan Addison had to make a ridiculous, falling out of bounds catch.
Yeah.
If he just throws it down the field, that's a touchdown. He was wide open. Or just not even down the field, just throw it to him. Literally, just
put it on him.
Just throw it as hard as you can into his chest. We can expect that.
That is not for an NFL quarterback. You should expect to put it on him in that situation.
The fact that they miss Addison like that, if he drives the ball off his back foot and just sticks it on his chest, now he can run after the catch. And because even if the backside safety would have come over the top, I think Addison in open field makes him he plays the game and makes him miss. He's going to wiggle and waggle and get to the end zone. But the fact that was the same drive that then he goes out of bounds, you have a couple bad plays, and then Brandel does the snap over the head for a 59-yard field goal. Again, those are things that probably don't happen if you just score right there. So you could always play devil's advocate to both sides of it. But yeah, he missed some throws that, and Sam, I agree with you too, though. Could JJ McCarthy have made those throws? We don't know. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem with this. I wish he was healthy so we could have saw what he could have done against the Eagles, because they're a beatable team. They are a very vulnerable and beatable team, and the Vikings just could not make the plays on defense to get them out of trouble.
Quarterback debate is going to rage for the next
I can't believe this debate is going to rage, man. I'm closer to saying Max Brosmer, dude. Get this dude off of the field.
The timeline, okay, but this is not a conversation anymore about Carson Wentz being good or bad. This is just a conversation about every report keeps pushing the timeline back, pushing it back and back and back. Now it's weak. It was weak.
They were maybe they were playing games in London. And honestly, I kind of don't think they should have brought him, because a 6-week high ankle sprain is normal. If it was an 8-9 week high ankle sprain, I'd start to be like, whoa. But if you're accusing the Vikings of lying about injury reports and stuff too, then take the draft pick away. Too. I mean, if that's what we're doing, just to save face, because we got a guy that's do we really not expect somebody to improve who has played 54 dropbacks? Do we really just think that the Atlanta game was his median outcome? I think that's a completely insane take.
I think there's a lot to chew on, and you know how I feel about injury report stuff. But we'll get into that as
it's always a conspiracy. I wish I still had the tinfoil hat.
Yeah. Oh, you should.
It broke.
Let's break down some of the red zone failures. Vikings go 1 for 6 in the red zone. They kick 5 field goals. They lose by 6. There's your difference in the game. That's coming up next on the Squad Show. Brought to you today by Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's sad. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform with global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. Everything from onboarding, payroll, IT access, it runs automatically. It's perfectly in sync. Right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. Learn more at rippling.com/LockedOnNFL. It's rippling.com/LockedOnNFL for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. We're also presented by Prize Picks, which is simply the best way to play daily fantasy sports. When you are right, you get paid, and it's good to be right. It's so fun. It's so simple. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player projections. Today, Saquon Barkley would have been way less. Jordan Addison would have been way more. Hopefully you had that in your entry. And download the PrizePicks app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. All right, Vikings lose 28-22. They're 3-3 out of the bye. Vikings go 1 for 6 in the red zone in this game. 5 field goals by Will Reichert. So where do you point the finger in particular with the red zone issues? Because the Vikings had arguably more success on a drive-by-drive basis than the Philadelphia Eagles. The Vikings scored 6 times in this game on offense. The Eagles scored 3. So, Ron, are you how are you carving up the pie chart there? KOC, offensive line play, Carson Wentz, where do you place the blame?
This is a tough one. It's got to go everywhere. Like, I'm going to go 50% of it is play calling. I'm going to go 25% of it is on the quarterback, and then 25% of it is on the playmakers. Because again, people always say this, like, because every time I tweet this out, people always want to have Kevin O'Connell's back. 2nd and 1, go run the ball 3 times. That like the Eagles would have pushed you 3 times to get a first down on 2nd and 1 in the red zone. And the fact that Kevin O'Connell didn't do that just to try to get more down opportunities and like all these tricky passes and all this other stuff, putting your quarterback and your line into a situation where you don't want to be in, you got to blame a little bit on the play calling. I just don't understand it. And Luke was right with, like, the out route was killing the Eagles. Like, I don't know why they weren't protecting the edges. I don't know if they were so worried about Justin Jefferson on the deep overs and Hawkinson up the seam. They were the out, like that small little out to the side, wherever, like, he was figuring it out too. Wherever the backed up corner was at, it was just a man beater. Like, they were playing underneath man a ton. You saw a little bit of 2-man, you saw a little bit of 4, you saw some 2 to one side, 4 to the other, and Carson figured it out, but then he missed throws. So I don't know why you don't just keep attacking the edges. I mean, Justin Jefferson caught a freaking stop route, like a smoke, standing out there by himself as an outlet guy, and ran for 50+ yards. Like, go after those edges, because those corners did not want to play or tackle today, it seemed like, for the Eagles.
Ron?
I would defend the play calling a little bit. I'm not going to disagree with Ron about, 2nd and 1 and you pass 3 times. In and of itself is crazy, but all 3 of those should have been touchdowns. You gotta fade to Justin Jefferson. You got to catch that. You had a wide open CJ Ham, but your quarterback can't throw it. I'm sorry. I think half of the college quarterbacks make that throw. Get out of here with that. Like, find the fullback there. You have to go through the read, like, at all. Doesn't find it, takes us. And then the after that, there was one to Jalen Naylor that should have been a touchdown, but Wentz sails it, but he was open. And then you had the holding penalty that could have been a touchdown, but that one's on Brandel.
And that holding was BS, though. That was a BS call.
Yeah. So I
It's
think
the
the
yank
ref
down.
sees the pad tug right at the beginning before the whole snatch and trap. I think that's what gets called. That's how the broadcast tried to explain it at least.
Yeah, it was so
but
bad.
It's quick. Yeah.
If you watch that, I don't know if they could show it on TV. How like I don't know what part it was, but we could see it on the field. Brian O'Neill goes over and he's explaining literally to the ref like 7 times. He's like frantically, and they're trying to like back him up, like, hey, do not touch the ref, don't get a penalty, don't touch the, like, you can see the staff like trying to say don't touch him, like pulling on. And then as soon as the refs get to the sideline, Kevin O'Connell rips into him, and they're literally like, dude, that is literally textbook. He's blocking and he just pushes this momentum down. And they called it a hold. But you're right. Like, it is the little bit of a tug, but it's not, because he went downward as a shove, not a pull. And so it's one of those things
just
where
that
offensive linemen.
you can see it in slow motion. I think whenever they see the pads, they're going to call it.
So dumb.
Which bad. But
they don't call any of the Eagles. Like,
the
Eagles offensive line moves before every play, and the guard never comes set before the snap. The guard literally is moving, tucking, looking up, moving, jumping, and then he snaps the ball. They never once call that, and it's so bad.
Yeah, the Vikings got very unfavorable ref calls in this one, which is an excuse I'm not going to allow them to take, because they killed themselves with making a bad decision at center. That's the other thing, right? I'm gonna put this 50-50 on Wentz and Brandel. I think it's truly those two guys holding a team hostage that is otherwise playing well. And you just shouldn't have done this. You had an okay game against the Browns and you overturn your depth chart. Everything the Vikings do is crazy overthought. We're trying to put Tyler Batty's neck in a hydraulic press to stop the tush. Just line up and play football. We've got trying double moves and end arounds and motions. Just line up and play football. When they were just handing off and running the ball, they were beating the Eagles. But when they try to do this fancy crap, when they overthink it, we're going to put Blake Brandel in at center because he looked halfway okay, snaps the ball over the head, gets beat like crazy a million times in huge situations, gets the holding pass. You can look at each one of those red zone possessions and say either Wentz cost them the drive or Brandel cost them the drive every single time. And the only reason this one was close is Will Reichard.
Okay, let's look at it drive by drive. So first drive down, it's 7-0. Vikings get down there.
Brandel snaps it over his head.
But also, and that comes one play after Wentz misses Addison on the out. So they share the responsibility in that. Next time, it's 14-3. Vikings get down there once more. This was the 2nd-and-1 sequence. Good throw, I would say, to Jefferson on 2nd-and-1. Got to make the catch. Sales nailer, and then throws a touchdown, holding on Brandel. So Brandel culpable for a couple of those. 14-6. Got another chance. You can draw even in the third quarter. This was the Wentz intentional grounding. That's dumb.
What are we doing, man? You had it. Throw the ball to a receiver. I feel like I'm talking to an 8th grader. This is not the standard that the NFL holds.
And Sam, before you get to the next one, because I'm going to take off here, but here's what I say with that, because I know you're going to go through the rest of it, and I'm thinking the same thing. You could put it on the center. You could put it on the quarterback. But at the end of the day, too, it's everybody. Like, and I know Kevin O'Connell's probably in his presser this week is going to talk about everybody. It's a short week, too, so it's everybody. And if he doesn't do this, what about this? You got to take it up. But Luke's right, and I hate to say that. Like, some of these throws, even if your guys are messing up, the quarterback's just got to keep making the throw. You know, if you watch Jalen Hurts, like, there's a lot of stuff early on in the season he could have blamed on a lot of people. But he said, you know what, I'm going to keep throwing it. I'm going to keep throwing it. I'm going to keep throwing it. And today was one of those days where it worked. You know, they kept throwing it. And like all the turmoil, all the arguments, all the stuff that was going on, receivers, he never put receivers under the bus. Like, oh, you guys are doing this. You're not seeing this. It was just play. And so, Justin Jefferson dropped the ball. Yeah, you know, this guy held. But the quarterback has to make the simple throws. You know, it's pitching. It's like a second baseman getting a ground ball, throwing it to first. That's what some of those throws were. And if you saw a second baseman with the yips like that, I think you take him out the game. You know, like, and that's the problem. So,
yeah, uncatchable downfield throws are frustrating. Not even giving a guy like Justin Jefferson a chance. You know, this Dylan Gabriel kind of stuff, like from London, you know, when he was missing everybody.
Although Dylan Gabriel hung like a
31 in the
class
win
on the Dolphins.
Yeah. I think Ron's got to head out. We appreciate Ron Johnson's contribution. I mean, we can keep rolling through these red zone failures. There was a sack on 3rd and 5 that Wentz took in the fourth quarter. That made it 21-19. So I could have given you the lead.
Right.
Could have given you the lead at that point. And then again at the end, they score on the Hawkinson play on a 3rd down and 2, overruled, incomplete. Quick game management question.
And
at
then
that
that
point,
disaster.
Then clock management strikes. Would you have just kicked the field goal on that 4th and 2? Because I think I would have, based on the clock, because they left themselves no margin for error. If there's 3 minutes to go and 3 timeouts, you've got 2 chances, I think, to stop Philadelphia versus first down and it's over, which is what happened. I think I would have kicked, but maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't anticipate bungling the clock in the way they did.
No, and I think that I was sitting there going, I think I would kick this, but tend a little more conservative in those situations, just saying, hey, make it a 1-score game and keep your time, because I think I value the clock a lot more than a lot of coaches, which maybe I'm just wrong about, but that was me. I was literally saying, I don't know if I would go for this. This is a pretty ballsy one. And then he gets it. And it's like, okay, vindicated. I don't think that the clock debacle that happened afterwards overturns that Kevin O'Connell was vindicated to go for that and hit the flat, man. Hey, if you can get Carson Wentz to throw it to the flat, he'll only miss 1 or 2 of them in a way that makes you want to throw up. But like, I can't believe we are going to have another game of this probably, but then you get, that 2-3 plays, and especially the one where Wentz takes the sack and doesn't just throw it up over somebody's head. You just have to know to do that. You have to know to do that. This is the situational masters coach. And you could sense the frustration on Kevin O'Connell's face this whole game. This man is held hostage. This is a man that is not able to call the offense the way he wants to call it. And he's not able to see, he is dialing up wide open touchdowns over and over and over and over and over again. So I if we want to talk blame chart, this is how I'm going to bat for Kevin O'Connell. Guys are wide open all day long. You can't throw it for him.
That final drive after they converted on the 4th down, then he got sacked. Can't take that sack, and that threw everything off. because then you're like obligated to run a couple more plays, and those plays are going to be over the middle of the field because it's 1st and goal from the 20 or 2nd and goal from the 20, and that ran it down to 2 minutes, and then they lost the 2-minute warning, and it became what it became. The Vikings never got the ball back. There were also a couple 3rd downs on defense in this game, and just big plays given up in general. And I think the secondary probably got exposed the most it has all year. I think that's got to be part of this conversation as well, and we will get to it next on the Squad Show. We're brought to you today by Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else. You can feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. First half hour we've spent on the offense as the Vikings lose 28-22. Talk a bit about the defense, which today you said it, there was a lot of good stuff. And then there was the Jalen Hurts Superman stuff, which just usurps and wipes out all of the progress you feel like you've made. We were worried about the defense defending Saquon Barkley. They did that wonderfully. I thought the Eagles were going to overcommit to getting back to the run after their mini bye week. Early on, it seemed that way. I think they ran it like 9 of the first 12 plays on that opening touchdown drive. Didn't matter. Jalen Hurts bailed out the Eagles time and time again. And Braun, I don't know how much you can knock the secondary for 7-second plays where Eagles
Yeah.
receivers are just freelancing and coming back to the football. Like, that's just good. That's unbelievable work by Jalen Hurts, knowing where to put it to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Couple big plays you can rightfully knock Isaiah Rodgers, Josh Metellus. Some of those, though, that's just a big ask for your secondary.
Yeah, like there's so the big lob at the end to A.J. Brown that functionally ices the game. You're not going to say that was fine from Isaiah Rodgers, but I kind of get what he was trying. He doesn't think that's going to be a double move. It's 3rd and 9, and then the first down ices it. There's no reason to go deep. So he jumps the slant really hard, and it's like, okay, I get why you were that confident that it would be a slant. Now, maybe just stay in front of it and tackle it with, 3 yards to go and make them punt. But don't be a little bit more conservative about that just in case. But that was just a really, really diabolical time to dial up a double move. And I kind of just tip my cap to the play call there more than I blame that. But what I do blame is they sent everyone and nobody got home. And that is what happened a whole bunch. Just looking at the pressure,
carved up the blitz.
Absolutely
carved it up.
Absolutely. 20 blitz dropbacks here. 246 yards and 2 touchdowns on those. I mean, just absolutely smoked the blitz, which this is crazy. Going into this game, Jalen Hurts has had this huge, this is my nerdy stat of the day on Thursday. The difference between zone blitz and man blitz was strong. He was way struggling against zone blitz. And it was like, okay, this is the game where Jalen Hurts has to figure it out. And boy, did he ever. He found the answer to a problem he didn't have all season. And, it was the get right game for him against what has been the best coverage unit in the league. That's really unfortunate. And you just got. But I do think the lack of help from guys up front, Grenard having a really quiet day, Turner having a really quiet day, the blitz is not getting home. It's a credit to one of the best fronts in the league on offense in Philadelphia. They have a phenomenal offensive line. Credit to them. This isn't getting beat by the Rams 2s like what happened last year. But that is probably the strongest blowout that we saw was the Vikings pass rush versus the Eagles pass protection. Just nothing to get home.
He was blitzed on 77% of dropbacks per PFF. 14 of 17, 246, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Insane stuff. 5 of 6 on throws, 20 or more yards down the field. Demoralizing. One of those is on a 4th down, the Metellus one in the first quarter. And that was just a tone setter for the entire game. The defense gets a couple of 3rd down stops. Eagles go for it aggressively. And again, there's a 3rd and 13 there where they're waving the white flag. You let Saquon Barkley stumble for 10 yards and give them the idea that they're going to go for it, and they throw it to Brown for the touchdown. Just a lot of moments like that in this game, and the Vikings could never get back into it. Is the run defense's performance enough to satiate some of our concerns? Because we're going
didn't start good, did it?
No.
I mean, that was nasty at the beginning, and you saw Javon Hargrave get pushed around quite a bit. The Eagles' run game is a lot out of sorts. So but yeah, they had 4 of 5 drives in the first half. After that first one were 3 and outs, and a lot of that came from run stops. So yeah, you definitely have to give credit.
Yeah, no question. 44 yards. I apologize for Saquon Barkley. Moments of run game for Minnesota, nothing that was consistent, and again put Carson Wentz in a lot of tough situations. Vikings run game finishes 23 attempts for 89 yards. Jordan Mason 15 for 57, 3.8 yards per carry. Another conclusion we can draw from this game is that Jordan Addison is good and valuable and open. Some pretty good box score performances from your receiving core. 128 yards for Addison. So he's got 200-yard games out of 3, and then in the third one he had the game-winning touchdown. I mean,
and he sat out a quarter of that game, or probably
correct.
What an unbelievable start. And the question that is going to loom about him, about whether he's going to get another contract or whatever, I think this offseason you make the 5th-year option decision. I mean, you're not thinking twice about it. I know you're mad about you pick up that easy. And then, so you got 2 years of team control left, and then you really think about what you're going to pay him and how it is. And I think by the time you are having those conversations, you're in, May of 2027 or whatever, and you're thinking that DUI was a long time ago. Like it's different if you can stay out of trouble for a couple of years. That's the big if though. But Quinyon Mitchell, rough day at the office against 2 really good receivers. And I don't think that's because Quinyon Mitchell is like bad. I think that's just 2 good receivers doing a good job.
Quinyon gave up 5 receptions on 10 targets, 77 yards. That's per PFF. That's a very quick grade by PFF today. Well done, PFF. Just getting it out there. Let's circle back to where we started the show, because it's the topic everybody's going to be discussing. And again, the reports this week are maddening, because Kevin O'Connell is spouting word salad about his quarterbacks. I'm not sure he knows how he wants to message this. I think it was probably poorly messaged from the beginning. Like, how should the Vikings have handled this? Because it's not the way that they've done it. I put out on Twitter that, and I've said it on the squad show, that JJ McCarthy should have been placed on IR from the beginning. I don't care if you have, like, at the time, people are saying, well, they've used 6 of their short-term IR slots. Not at the time. I mean, at the time, it was probably like 3. That would have bought you number 1, you get a roster spot. You need roster spots. Number 2, then there aren't these week-to-week questions. Is he coming back in London? Is he coming back in week 7? He's got to come back in week 7. Now we've gone 4 games, 5 weeks since this injury that was initially reported, Braun, as a 2 to 4 week injury. So now they're saying it's a high ankle. It's 4 to 6.
2 to 4 was always an insane thing to say about a high ankle. I never got that.
But when it's Adam Schefter, I mean, you're inclined to believe it. The Vikings have.
You're inclined to believe that the team told him to say it. Yeah,
I think they have. Yeah, okay. So why did they leak? Wouldn't they want to be more conservative with the timeline? Like, this is a chronic Vikings problem with how
underselling
they injuries. Yeah. Underselling injuries. This is like when you're sitting on the taxiway on an airplane and they say, we're going to take off in about 15, 20 minutes here. Just be patient, sit back, and enjoy the flight. And an hour and a half later, you are still sitting there. That's what
that happened to the
like.
Packers before the game they're playing right now.
I think it did. Don't know.
Literally, yeah.
Don't know how they're doing right now, but
I have no idea. Somebody in the chat, tell me what the Packers are up to right now.
Yeah. So now we're hearing like, week 9. Week 9 is the target date. So that means Thursday. That'd be Carson Wentz's game on a short week. How would you have handled this? Could they have done it better? Because I think they've really kind of bungled the PR aspect of this whole injury kerfuffle.
Yeah, at the center of your critique, Kevin O'Connell never wants to tell you anything. He never named JJ McCarthy the starter before week 1 either. He never said that. They just had him do week 1 reps. He never said it. So technically it could still be Aaron Rodgers if you're brave enough. But he'll never say it. He was cagey all offseason for no reason. He's been cagey about this. I do think that uncertainty about who is going to start, as long as it's not uncertain internally, works in your favor, right? Because it gives just one more wrinkle to the opponent's prep. It probably helps more than it hurts. So to be cagey in, Cleveland about what ultimately, I mean, we were not even close to JJ McCarthy playing. To be cagey about that is, I think, understandable to just be like, we don't, we're just to screw with the Browns and hope that it helps them not prepare as well. Because I think if Carson Wentz is playing, you only have to practice against like 4 plays. So you got to throw in whatever you can to help defenses not be as ready for you. And then the other thing that I'll say is injuries aren't like in Madden where you get a timeline right off the bat where you say this will be 6 weeks. It is sometimes, hey, if it responds well to the treatment, we'll see how it feels tomorrow. But it is an ever evolving thing that doesn't always present with the timeline you end up having in the end. So I don't necessarily feel comfortable saying, they knew the whole time it would be 6 weeks and they were weird in the media. They might not have known, and that wouldn't be that abnormal to happen. But now that the timeline is in total 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain, that's a much more normal number for a high ankle sprain. High ankle sprain being 2 weeks would have been insane, and I would have started making jokes about what chemicals they gave him.
Yeah, but and then so either way, I think they look bad, because if they misdiagnosed a high ankle sprain and thought that he could come back within 4 weeks and then didn't put him on IR for that reason,
it happens. I don't think that's that weird.
I think I just think the Vikings are actually pretty perceptive about knowing, okay, this player, like with Blake Cashman, let's IR him. We'll get him back after the bye week. It'll be perfect. Donovan Jackson, he's going to have a surgery. Probably doesn't need to go on IR because he'll come back. Like, I think they actually get this right most of the time. So that the fact that they seemingly didn't get it right. And also you've got what is it? Is it that he needs to practice or that he's hurt? Because he's the emergency third quarterback. That tells you something. Like, you're willing to...
You're putting him in over Cam Akers if two guys get hurt, but that's a pretty weak endorsement.
Yep. Don't love how it's been handled. This is just
I do want to say to the footwork thing. So there is a podiatrist that sometimes emails me. He goes by Skulldoc on Twitter. Okay. And he has sometimes emailed me with, like, when there have been like other ankle or foot issues in previous seasons with, like, sometimes he'll tell me his, like, medical opinion. And he actually did tweet about this and said all the footwork stuff does sound like it's about dealing with an ankle that's compensating for pain and working through that. And either it's going to be painful all year because you're going to play through this sprained ankle because we can't stand Carson Wentz anymore, or we're just trying to get you back to normal as, you know, this stiffness wears off and it's different. It did sound like footwork responding to pain. And also footwork responding to, you've now had over a month to just sit and dwell on this disaster class you had in primetime in week 2, and maybe kind of rebuilding the game from there and trying to kind of like get a reset and get back to where you were going into week 1, where you actually did find a way to win a game.
Probably looking at Carson Wentz on Thursday. I would guess the Vikings don't. I mean, I would love to see Harbaugh against McCarthy. Love to see it. Also, you get like one practice in a short week like this. He got
a full week this week. So if he's healthy enough, like, I think this game was bad enough where you think about it and you go, yeah, I know your ankle's maybe not all the way, but, like, I don't know, man. This game feels a little bit like, if I'm Kevin O'Connell and you can see it on his face, I don't think he wants to do this again, man. I think he's pretty defeated.
The season can get away quickly when your division is as good as it is. Green Bay is 3-1-1. The Lions are 4-2. The Bears won again. Easy schedule. But the Bears beat the Saints. They're 4-2. The Vikings are 3-3 and in last. This is actually about where do you remember last year? The Vikings dropped to 5-2, and if the Bears had completed the Hail Mary,
they were going to be in last, and everyone was going to be in last. I think about it.
NFC North is competitive. It's deep, and the Vikings cannot afford to fall much further behind. So I don't want to say it's a must-win or win-now situation. Like, you absolutely need Thursday's game against the Chargers. You go on the road for it. It's a tough circumstance for either quarterback. No doubt about that.
I like the difference when you're, you know, one game behind or a half a game behind and you have tiebreakers or whatever. I'm not sweating the division standings when it's this tight. I'd sweat the division standings if I was like Houston and I've got, you know, man, now I've got a hole to dig out of. But by next week, this could completely all shuffle up, and I think everybody could be in any position depending on what happens. So I'm not gonna sweat it too bad. Just know you are 500. You're not 1-5. You're 500. You have 5 more opportunities to hand all those really good NFC North teams losses personally. And you still have 11 games left to play in this season. We're not even halfway. Not even close to halfway. We still got a ton of time left. So I think it still needs to be about figuring out your issues, finding a way to play. When the Vikings play offense and just everyone does their job. Not everyone wins their rep. Not everyone, you win every single, you block everybody. No, just everybody is trying to do the right thing. When everybody is just attempting to do things properly, the Vikings are really good. And the problem is they cannot get all 11 guys to do stuff without blocking the wrong guy, running in the wrong place, throwing the ball to the wrong place, making inexplicable mistakes, jumping off sides or whatever. They can't get all 11 to do that. I think we very much chalk that part up to coaching. It's not a play calling thing. That's an execution thing. And the execution was poor. They were lucky, I think, to still be in this one. The Eagles let them really hang around a lot more than I think they deserved to hang around. And I think I have said that about every game but the Atlanta game, where, the Bears probably shouldn't have let the Vikings hang around. The Steelers shouldn't have let the Vikings hang around. The Browns should have put away everybody should have put away the Vikings. But they've had these, another team gets a bad penalty at the wrong time and they get to make these fourth quarter comeback attempts. And you've gotten a couple of them. You haven't gotten a couple of them. How about this? Can we score a touchdown in the first half? They've done it once this year. One game. They've scored touchdowns in the first half. And that was the Bengals thing.
That was such an X factor last year. They were constantly leading. I mean, I think they led for an absurd number of snaps last year. Definitely number one in the NFL. This hasn't happened this year. That's a big regression.
They've been really bad in first halves. What are you doing, man? What's your game plan? Why are you coming out and taking...
Don't snap it over Carson Wentz's head.
Why are you taking 40 minutes to figure out how to snap the ball? Snap the ball, throw the ball to where you're supposed to... snap the ball and go through reads. This is day one stuff. I love Greg Olsen was not kind to Carson Wentz in this game, and I don't think he should have been kind to Carson Wentz because the mistakes he were making were frequent and inexcusable. And to Ron's point from earlier, there were a lot of other people making a lot of other mistakes. I know I'm going really hard at Wentz specifically, but yeah, you had Blake Brandel and his whole thing. You had losses from up front in against other blocks and all that. But if they just do this right on, I don't even think these guys can move the ball on air. They can't do the right thing all the time. Who's coaching these guys?
Jalen Hurts was, we mentioned this, 5 of 6 on deep throws. By contrast, Carson Wentz, that's his new nickname, was 3 of 9 on deep throws today with an interception.
You want to see... You want to hear? So this is TJ Hawkinson was apparently really hot in the locker room because 2 refs apparently came up to him after and said, "Oh, we had that as a catch for you," and that New York overruled it and that the on-field refs disagreed. So TJ Hawkinson was very mad. We've got the Vikings have to lead the league in apology letters from the NFL because they're going to get one. They're going to get one of those deep throws. The one that was wide open, middle of the field, Devonta Smith. Did you see the hold they missed on Jonathan Grenard? That dude got horse collared. That could have been 15. And they just didn't throw it. Grenard was losing his mind. Broadcast never showed the replay.
There was just a moment where I didn't get a chance to see the replay on the challenge flag that Kevin O'Connell threw on the presumed incompletion. What was the verdict on that?
I have no idea. I couldn't see the replay.
Okay. Well,
again, I don't know what Fox was not showing us anything. It was wild.
I was briefly on the radio. Away from TV, the radio said that it should have been overturned, that it should not have been a completion. Maybe the chat can chime in on that. I can't remember what that drive led to. It might have just led to a punt.
And I want to make clear because the chat's
Hank
don't make it.
Hank says they never show the replay. So okay, thank you, Hank.
Oh goodness gracious. Chat's saying don't make ref excuses. You're super right. Yeah, no, and I'm not making ref excuses. The Vikings deserve to lose this game by way more than 6, but I'm pointing it out that there was still they did get bad ref luck. It's just we can't expect them to overturn the game on that.
Well, that's interesting from Hawkinson too. I understood the interpretation.
I do think it was the right call.
The ball hit it did contact with the ground, came dislodged on its way back up to his chest. It's frustrating because of how effortful it was. Hawkinson absolutely made a great play on it. Not his fault. That's just I got to
throw that halfway reasonable. I just need 90% of the reps from all 11 to be at least attempt to do the thing you were supposed to do. Don't even need you to win the rep. Just try to do it right next time, maybe. Short week.
There's a lot of crazy plays in each game. We'll talk about the ones that we forgot about. We'll empty the notebook when we come back. Also, some turning points from this one. We're brought to you this afternoon by FanDuel. Total went over in this game. Vikings did not cover. 2.5-point dogs. Eagles win by 6. That's the verdict on this one. New customers, though, you can still bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Put down $5. If it hits, you unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That crazy Browns-Dolphins game with the crazy over-under, like 34.5? That went over. 37. How good is FanDuel? They just know. They know the lines. Makes watching football fun when you got a little riding on it, whether it's live, wagering, same-game parlays, future bets, what have you. Visit FanDuel.com or download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Download the FanDuel app today and get started. All right, Vikings Squad Show back tomorrow with Arif Hassan and Luke Inman breaking it all down with even more granular detail. Plays that stood out in this game that we haven't gotten to. KOC going to a couple of trickeration type plays. We had a wild pitch back to Wentz.
The double flea flicker for a DPI.
Earned them about 15 yards DPI. Is that deemed a success when you waste your trick play for a DPI, which wasn't even that uncovered of a target? Is that a successful trick play? I don't know.
I don't think so, because what they wanted was a deep post that looked like it was covered. At least Wentz didn't throw it, which I can't really trust that means it was covered, but Wentz didn't throw the deep post that it was supposed to be and ends up just kind of tossing a stupid one up to TJ Hawkinson who was like blanketed, and you just kind of get lucky that the guy was too physical.
And hey, who says the refs were all against the Vikings? They overturn the direct snap to Jordan Mason for a touchdown. He reached the ball across the plane.
Yeah.
And
pylon cam in a big spot.
Got a TD.
Yep. That was Wildcat. Like I was about to go absolutely insane on like, you've been so bad in the red zone all day, and you are going Wildcat motion from under center almost as a dig at the Lions, so that you can run a toss the other way, and then it looked like it got stuffed. And I was like, run zone? Just play weird, like normal football.
They refused to challenge Jalen Carter up the middle. What was the run pass balance today? 42 throws, something like 20 carries, I think, 15 for Mason, 5-ish for Scott. They really didn't want to challenge that defensive line. And I think, and you've said it a million times, Ron, it was there in the passing game. Like, Wentz threw for almost 300 yards.
He could have 4 touchdowns if he was a semi-normal quarterback. Jacoby Brissett has 4 touchdowns in this game. Like, how many quarterbacks in the league do we expect to hit CJ Ham on that Spider 2Y banana debacle? 35? I mean, I feel like everyone's depth chart can do that, which is why I can't possibly buy that they're looking at a rookie like JJ McCarthy and thinking he can't do that. I think everybody else in the class, in this year's rookie class, can do that. It's the easiest thing in the world. I think Carson Wentz is one of one in that he can't do that.
Carson Wentz was graded with one big-time throw in the game. What do you think that one was? I don't know. What would be his one big-time throw? He had one. Actually, you know what it was? I think it was at 14-3. He had a really pretty fade down the left sideline.
Yes, hitting that one wheel to Naylor for a big one. Yeah, that's got to be it.
Yeah, that was nice.
I don't know if it's a wheel, but it felt like a wheel. Like a late deep ball.
On the pick six, did you watch that back a couple times? What was that throw there at all, or was he just blind
as a bat?
Okay.
It was the same thing as the Van Ginkel pick six in London last year. Exact same idea. Trying to get a slant, somebody sims, backs off, and you didn't see it. And because the linebacker that usually, like, so basically he just honed in pre-snap. This is how they described it on the broadcast. I thought Greg Olson did a great job. The linebacker that usually has that zone vacated to be, I think, part of the pressure or just part of a rotated coverage. So Wentz went, oh, sweet, there's going to be space. But he didn't see that there was somebody else simming that then gets it. And so you throw a pick six to an edge rusher that way. It was the same exact thing.
Other wacky plays from this one, Braun. We had a 59-yard field goal. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah,
it's really good.
After the Blake Brandel thing, I was like, nobody in the world ever makes that field goal.
Yeah.
But Riker drills it. I was like, this guy's awesome.
And the Vikings got some field goal luck with an easy miss by Elliott. To keep them down 5. I think if I'm picking a turning point in this game, and there were a number of momentum shifts. It's probably at 21-16. It's probably after the Elliott miss. It's the fourth quarter. You've got to cash that one in. And the red zone failures, feel like this is the Ford Field game in Week 18 last year. The red zone failures run together so much, I got to try to remember what happened on this one. So this was the 1st and 10 at the Philadelphia 15. And you're coming off, Addison had a couple of great catches, even good throws by Wentz. 1st and 10 at the 15. Mason stuffed -2. Okay, you're set back. Jefferson for 7. 3rd and 5, Wentz sacked. That's
on
your dagger.
Brandel. Yeah.
That's your dagger.
Brandel lets it through and you take a terrible sack.
Brandel culpable on 3 red zone failures on big downs.
Yep. And then Wentz on the other 2. I think that's the story of your game. That's why I come into this one going so hot, saying like these guys are holding the team hostage. And here's what kills me about this. This is the biggest coaching to the Inman's coaching corner. This is the biggest coaching critique I have, because those play calls I can at least understand. We're trying to get a fade to Jefferson in the red zone. I get, we maybe wanted to run more, but I get what they were going for on everything. I just can't fathom how you watch that game go by and you never think about taking Brandel out and putting a guy who plays center back in. Michael Juergens was healthy and active. He was ready to go. He did go in because Brandel had a helmet issue at a certain point in this game, but he did play a couple. I don't understand, what more do you need to see to pull a guy in the middle of the game and say, this is not working, we need to do something? And their refusal to do that, like going into the game and oops, we kind of overvalued the Cleveland game. I'm not going to kill you over that. It's a mistake. But again, at least I saw the logic. But by the third quarter, after the third time he's killing a red zone drive, this dude is like single-handedly losing you the game. And he's playing out of position. And you have a solution for that on the bench ready to go. I cannot fathom not pulling Blake Brandel in that one. I've never seen a guy need to get the hook more and not get the hook. Unbelievable mistake. And I think if you don't do that, you win this game. Like if you put Juergens in, even if he loses some reps on his own, you can win this game just by virtue of having a center that plays center that knows how. It's
I'm more of a PFF guy than you, but you'll like this. This will support your argument. Pressures allowed today. Guess who led?
Oh yeah,
Guess
I bet
who led the Vikings.
Real. What, like 8 of them from Brandel?
6.
6, yeah.
6. No one else had more than 2. Donovan Jackson in his return, 2 pressures allowed, no sacks. And in fact, no other sacks were credited to the line except for the one that Brandel gave up. I've also got one more nitpick. One play prior to the fateful 3rd and 13, when again, it's 21-19, you're going to get the ball back. Jonathan Grenard has a clear lane sack on Jalen Hurts, and I think he went for the ball. And forgot to touch the guy, and it turned into an incompletion. If he sacks him there, we're probably talking about 3rd and 22 and like a draw to Bigsby.
Yep.
Like that probably wipes out any chance of a first down. You're getting the ball back, down 2. There would have been 8 minutes to go. Oh, so many times when you could have grabbed this game by the horns. And like the Vikings shot themselves in the foot repeatedly, but then were given chances to right the ship a lot. They could have stabilized this thing.
Yeah. And that's why, while we can acknowledge that they got a couple of bad ref calls, you can't use that as an excuse, because it's not like you didn't have the opportunity. It's not like you're going into the room saying, well, we did everything right. If you're doing that, shut the season down
now. Squad show back on Monday, and then game day edition on Thursday. That'll be fun. Thursday night football, Al Michaels, Amazon Prime. Who's going to be the QB? More word salad from KOC this week. That's what I can promise.
Yeah, you just have to kind of not take, like, this is just one of those coaches. There's a lot of coaches that just, like, whatever they say about injuries just doesn't count.
Have we
just
seen
not get information?
Any inflammatory quotes coming from KOC or Wentz after the game? Anything that's come across Twitter that you've seen as we close?
Chat's gonna have to help me out. I don't know. I haven't seen anything.
That's okay. Quick update though. The Chargers are getting absolutely destroyed at home. The Chargers are losing. They've just given up an interception. They're down 20-3, and the Colts just picked off the ball. Daniel Jones.
Danny Dimes getting it.
2 words. Danny Dimes.
Yep.
I got to insist, though, to people. They offered him a contract. Now, could they have upped their offer? Sure. But to make him we didn't know. We didn't know Daniel Jones was going to be this good.
I think most of you probably would not have liked it if they offered Daniel Jones $20 million.
If they had got, I think they offered 14. I mean, a competitive, highest backup paid in the league. Yeah.
Well, there's one, but there's Kirk, but that's different. We don't need to.
Yeah, we won't relitigate that. No, I think they wanted the guy.
They wanted him back in the building, but he chose it. It wasn't about the money. It was about the fact that the Vikings liked J.J. McCarthy more than the Colts liked Anthony Richardson. Mm-hmm. Jones sensed that and went to the place where he could win a battle.
Great instinct by him. And the Colts look like they're going to send. So, again, the Vikings might get a team that's hot after a loss. They got the Eagles when they were down, might get the Chargers when they're down. Chargers are a weird, unpredictable team. We'll preview that as the Squad Show rolls on this week. Big thanks to Ron Johnson. Big thanks to you, Luke Braun. And I'm Sam Ekstrom. We do this after every game. It's the Viking Squad Show on Locked On Vikings, wherever you get your podcasts.